Welcome to Borobudur, the single most visited site in Indonesia and one of the highlights of our journey across Java. In this episode, we'll visit Jogjakarta and its surrounding countryside in central Java, where the royal capital and two of the country's UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Borobudur and Prambanan, are found. On this journey, we'll see how the Buddhist, Hindu, and Islamic kingdoms of the past, and a brief interlude with Dutch colonialism, have shaped the skyline of the region and the culture of the Javanese people to produce one of Southeast Asia's most fascinating destinations. So join us, I'm David Celdran in Java, and this is Executive Class. Arriving from the airport in Jogjakarta, the ancient city and seat of the Sultanate might come across as just another modern Southeast Asian metropolis. But like so many Asian cities rooted in history, you'll need to dig deeper to uncover the past and stay at the right places to appreciate Jogjakarta's heritage better. Places like the Phoenix Jogjakarta M Gallery in a century-old building, which is a wonderful base for exploring the city. If you want to experience Jogjakarta's complex, multi-layered history in a single building, this is it. The architecture and design of the building reflects the ethnic mix of Chinese, Japanese, and Europeans that live in the city, an eclectic style found in other Dutch colonial era structures all over Java. The Phoenix currently belongs to the French Accor Group's M Gallery collection of boutique hotels, unique properties with a special sense of place and heritage.
M Gallery means M is memorable. So
Memorable. Okay, that's what M stands for.
M
Okay.
memorable. Then memorable M Gallery is a lot of philosophy and story actually behind. But Phoenix, this hotel, having both of them here. So we have the philosophy, we have the story, a lot of history here.
It's a heritage the hotel is proud of and have taken pains to preserve and remind guests about. The original Art Nouveau decor, even the cocktails, all take guests back in time to what some recall as the good old days in the city. So what are we having here?
So this is the jingsil. Actually, this is the signature cocktail
Wow,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
So this is something with local ingredients, I'm sure.
Yeah, correctly. So actually, if you visit to Yogyakarta and not going to the Phoenix and not try the signature cocktail, is not considered not going to a Phoenix hotel.
Okay, it's one thing to preserve a historic building, have a museum, have an interesting historical tour.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, a guest comes here to have a good night's sleep, have a good meal. Tell us about the guest experience, apart from just the historic character of this hotel.
Yeah, so this kind of thing is, we have some program actually in the M Gallery, so we call Artis here. So Artis means we search, we find out what the guests like. So before the guests arrive, so we're preparing all the things to make them wow.
Wow, indeed. You don't have to be a history geek to enjoy the Phoenix. Sophisticated travelers looking for modern amenities and a charming atmosphere would love it too. And so would serious foodies in search of a contemporary interpretation of traditional Central Javanese cuisine. Even one of the Sultan's favorite desserts, a cassava and coconut milk pudding, gets a modern twist here. The M in M Gallery stands for memories. That's what the M stands for. But not just memories of a happy past, but memories that you hope to create during your stay here at the hotel. And one of those memories for me would be riding this vintage Mercedes-Benz, which, by the way, also stands for M, right? With Susilo, my driver, and Sonny, my personal guide, we're headed to the oldest quarter of Jogjakarta, a route that takes me through one of the downsides of the city's rapid development and Indonesia's rising prosperity.
Look at the progress, the traffic, too many cars.
Too many
People
car
have too much
rides, yeah.
money, right?
Yeah.
Too much money and they buy cars.
It's better economic now. Yeah.
One of these days, Susilu, we'll be looking back at this day, this year,
This year.
and say, those were the good old days. I hope so. So we just entered Kotagede. This is like a very traditional district. They call it the oldest part of Jogjakarta, the original part of Jogjakarta. And you'll see a lot of signs here that say silver. Well, the reason for that is these were and still are silversmiths. And it's been said that they used to provide the silverware and the silver jewelry of the Sultan's family. So these are very special people, artisans. Thank you so much, Susilu.
My pleasure.
Wow, that traffic was horrible. It's probably the only thing I don't like about Jogjakarta. I can see why so many people in the city are nostalgic about the past. Speaking of the past, let's go back in time.
Apart from the silverworks, Kotagede is also known for its well-preserved mansions. This one from 1857, in the typical European, Chinese, Javanese eclectic style that was fashionable among the wealthy, provides a glimpse into the lives of merchant families that prospered in the district.
I love what they've done to this place. This house has been converted into an art space and a bed and breakfast, or a homestay as they call it here. And it's a trend you see all over Jogjakarta. Now, it's not quite the Phoenix Hotel, but it follows the same trend of old homes and heritage structures taking on new life as hospitality places and basically trendy spots for young Indonesians to enjoy.
It's empty right now, but the neighborhood comes alive at night and after the Muslim call to prayer.
Thank you. Thank you, Susilu. So just in time, do you hear that? It's the call to prayer, right? So we're visiting the Grand Mosque of this oldest quarter of Jogjakarta.
The chorus of prayers remind you that Jogjakarta today, like the rest of Indonesia, is predominantly Muslim. In fact, it was here in Kotagede where the 16th century Islamic Mataram Kingdom was established, where their sultans were buried, and from where the Muslim faith spread rapidly across the country.
This to me is really interesting. This is what they call their Grand Mosque. It's hard to believe it, right? A Grand Mosque. You don't see any dome, you don't see any minaret, nothing at all. It's so simple. Instead of a minaret, it looks more like a ladder, a very simple tower. And then again, no dome at all. But this is the Javanese style of mosques, and they prefer to keep it that way. Very traditional, very old, very Javanese.
The Mataram Sultans were eventually replaced by the current Sultanate of Jogjakarta, and I'm on my way to visit one of their palaces in the city.
Exported over here is of the current Sultan of Jogjakarta, concurrently the governor of Jogjakarta. He's Sultan number 10, or Sultan Hamengkubuwono X, 10th in line obviously. He no longer lives here. After Sultan number 7 passed away, this ceased to become a royal residence. Today it's a museum, a heritage site, and of course, where we're going to have dinner.
The palace is attached to the Royal Ambarukmo, where it's possible for hotel guests to experience life at the Sultan's court, if only for one evening.
Okay, here we go. It's my first time to do this. This looks really formal. Good evening. Hello, hello. Thank you, thank you. Should I go upstairs? Thank you. That was nice.
Apart from tours of the palace grounds, the hotel offers a special dinner package that recreates the banquets that were once hosted by the Sultan. Except for the absence of the Sultan and his gold cutlery, the service is pretty faithful to the original. Rituals such as serving dishes on a bench held up by a pole to make sure the food wasn't touched by the servants. After prayer, no one started unless the Sultan took the first sip or bite, and instead of raising glasses to say cheers, a reverent nod was expected. This faithfulness to Javanese culture and cuisine have made the Royal Ambarukmo and Jogjakarta in general a favorite among cultural travelers seeking authentic experiences.
My thing at the moment is that the big chains are taking over everything.
Exactly.
And reducing everything to a single homogeneous
Experience.
mass.
Yes.
Whereas it's fantastic to be here. The majority of tourism to Jogjakarta at the moment comes from within Indonesia. So the culture in Jogjakarta has not been affected by external forces so much, and for that reason, for me, it's more attractive. How can I say this without being arrogant? It's not the sort of tourism that goes to some of the more popular resorts. It is a more educated, a more cultured tourism. It's a tourism that is looking to respect the local cultures.
And part of what we're doing tonight is exactly that, immersing your guests in a very proud culture.
Absolutely.
Up next in our journey through the cultural heart of Indonesia, we'll continue to immerse in Javanese culture with a visit to the ancient shrines of Borobudur and Prambanan, two UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the outskirts of Jogjakarta. Executive class returns after the break.